Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm doing a video that is a little bit different than what I usually do. And this is a video that I saw Kayla from Books and Lala do a few weeks ago, and I thought it was a really fun idea, so I'm deciding to try it out. But that is a scavenger hunt that is supposed to tell you what book you should read next. And there's like a list of like 10 questions, I think, where it leads you, you're like supposed to follow them, and it's supposed to lead you to whatever book it's like you should read next. So I'm gonna be like following that and kind of making this like a little reading vlog of the book that I end up finding from this hunt. So first of all, I don't have like a big enough physical TBR, like physical books that I own. I think it's like only 15 books that I actually own of that is part of like my TBR. So I'm gonna be expanding it to like my want to read shelf on Goodreads, which has about like more than 200 books on it. And I think this will be a good way to like kind of read a book that I don't physically own but I have been still wanting to read for a while, and that I wouldn't otherwise like pick up for a really long time. So anyways, I'm just gonna start. Some of these questions I have no idea how they're gonna go, but I have my computer right here with the questions. But the first question is to grab my favorite book, go to the acknowledgements, and the first name you see, find a book by an author with the same name. Now this one is gonna be hard because first of all, I'm gonna get the book out that I'm gonna be using for this. That is of course Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's like one of my favorite books of all time. I love the series so much. But I'm supposed to go to the acknowledgements, and the first name that I see, I'm supposed to find an author. Now, I don't have a ton of different types of authors on my shelf, and I don't have a lot of male authors, so I'm gonna be doing this with like female authors, because like I know if it's a male I'm not gonna find it. But let's see if I can even find any acknowledgements. Okay, so there's no way. Tamar. The first name I see is Tamar. I don't think I have an, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna see the first name. I'm not gonna do the first name, I'm gonna do the first name that I see that I can find. Okay, Margaret. Let's see, do I have a Margaret? See, I don't know if I have a Margaret on my shelf. Like, the only Margaret I had, I think, was The Handmaid's Tale, but I have unhauled that, so we're just gonna keep going. Michelle. This one is way harder than I thought because I feel like I don't have that many, and I like every author. Let's see, the next name I'm looking for is Kat. Let's see. No, I see Leigh Bardugo. Okay, you know what? We're gonna use Leigh Bardugo because I just don't know which one. Okay, you know what? We're gonna use Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because Leigh Bardugo is mentioned in the acknowledgements. Anyway, so with this one, I'm supposed to pick something on that cover and find another book with the thing in the title. Oh god. Okay, so this one has like a feather and a bird, and like kind of like a tower in the back, but I'm gonna use the feather. Now I don't know if I actually have a book that has like feather in the title. I might just do like, let's see, feather. Okay, I can't find a so I'm gonna try to find a cover that has a feather. I know this one has a little feather on it, so I'm gonna use that one. Okay, the next one is go to page 50, line 5, and pick a word from that line and find a title with that word. Okay, let's see. Go to page 50, line 5. Line 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can't imagine the barbarian's daughter in such fine silk. Oh. So I'm supposed to pick a word. So it could be daughter. Is there like a daughter? Fine silk. Do I have silk? I don't think I have silk. So I'm gonna try to find a daughter. Or I could do like the or something, and like I could be really like basic and use like I or the if I can't find, or like in or something. So like maybe I'll do that. Okay, you know what? Because I can't really find a daughter on my shelf. And I don't think I like have a daughter. Okay, you know what? I can't find a daughter, so I'm gonna find a book that has like, do I have a book with silk? I don't think I have a book with silk. This is going great. This is going so much worse than I thought it would. But, okay. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna do the first book that I see that has the in it, and that is The Project by Courtney Summers. Okay. Find a 5-star read with the same colors on the cover. Oh my god, this is easy. Okay, this one has red and black. So if I can find like one of my favorite books that has red, oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna use this, Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, because it's literally red and black. So this is like the perfect book, and this was 5 stars. Okay, find a book with the same number of pages. Okay, this is gonna do really hard. This one is 800 and this one's literally 799 pages. Now, am I gonna find something that's like remotely the same? For this one, I'm gonna use Goodreads, and like I'm gonna have to use Goodreads because I don't know if I can like find a book that I know for sure is like 800 pages. See, this one's 600. This one is 757. Wait, this one might be 805. Don't know if I can actually find like an exact match. Am I supposed to find an exact match? This one's like 900 almost. This one's, please, Chain of Thorns better come through. If it doesn't come through, I'm gonna be mad. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna end up using this one because like it's pretty much the same amount of pages. It's like 790. It's like 805. So I'm gonna end up using this. Let me maybe I can like try to do pages on Goodreads. Okay, I literally don't. So I think I'm gonna use this. Flip open to any page, the first name you see, find a book by an author who shares that name. This one's gonna be really hard because this is a fantasy book. Okay, Hunt. Okay, I definitely don't have a Hunt. Maybe a last name, but I don't think I have any okay, Bryce. No, I don't have a Bryce or Rim. See, these are fantasy names. Flynn, Declan. Let's see. Let's go to my read and see if I've even read a book with the name Hunt. You know what? Instead of using an author, I'm gonna do a book that uses the word, and that is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I'm gonna make this easy for myself. Find another title with the same number of letters. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 letter titles. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh my god. Okay. The Nightingale also has 14 letters. So I have to find a book with a similar cover to this, which is like, it's like blue with like an Eiffel Tower on it. I can't, and like gold, this gold bird. So I don't know if I'm actually gonna find a book that has like a similar cover. Because I feel like that's something that a historical fiction novel would kind of have that cover. But you know what? I'm just gonna go with, should I go with this one? Maybe this is like too green. I don't have a lot of those types of covers. See, one thing I can think of is All the Light We Cannot See, which is, I feel like also blue, but I don't own it. Maybe Corner in Darkness. No, this is red on it. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna use this one because it has like the blue and it has the Eiffel Tower right here. So you know what? I think this is pretty close. But now I have to flip to a random page, point at a word, and find that word in a book title on your TBR shelf. Okay, so now this is a book that I'm actually going to be reading. Flip to a random page, point at a word, and find that word in a book title. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do. Okay, I got the word operation, which I don't even know if I have a book. Maybe, let's see. See, I don't have any operations, so I'm gonna do another one. Taking. Okay, I might have like a book with taking in it. Oh my god. Okay, this is the book that I just got, Taking of Jake Livingston, which I actually have heard a lot of things about. It does have a 3.46 average rating on Goodreads, which is like not amazing. But you know what? In the name of this video, I will read it. Now, I don't actually think I'm gonna like buy this book just for this video, but I will definitely see right now if my library has it. Oh my god. Okay, they do have it and it is available right now, and there's like no one actually reading it currently, which means like I can go ahead and go right up and get it, which is really exciting. So yeah, the next clip you will see, I'm actually reading a book right now like on my own, but the next clip you will see me like either have the book in my hand or go into the library to get it. Hey guys, so I just got done with the library and I was able to get my copy of The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. And this book is actually less than 300 pages. It's like only 244 pages or something, so even less than 250 pages. So I'm glad that it's short, so I'm hopefully able to finish it quickly. This is irrelevant, but while I was at the library, I also got On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Wong, which I've heard a lot about, and I wasn't even planning on getting this, but I was there and I literally saw it, so I just decided to pick it up. But the main book of this blog and concept is The Taking of Jake Livingston because it has the word taking in it, and I'm excited to start reading it. I hope that it is not too dark because like I'm kind of in a shady area and I hope no one can see me actually like filming this clip. But I am currently actually in the middle of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. That's a graphic novel though, and I'll finish that probably like today because it's like really quick. So I'm hoping that in the next like day I'll be able to start on The Taking of Jake Livingston, and I'll give you more thoughts once I actually start and get a little bit into this book. So I am about 74 pages into The Taking of Jake Livingston. It has been quite a few days since I last like said I would update you, but for you it's been like 1 second, so does it really matter? Not really. So this one is like really short, so I'm already like a third of the way through, I think, because this book is like under 250 pages. I have no idea if I told you, but this book is about a boy named Jake Livingston who goes to this like elite like private school academy, but he lives in like a little like hood adjacent city that is a little bit far away from where the private school is. And also Jake is someone who can like, he's like a medium, so he can see the dead world as well as the real world and just like his everyday eyesight. So like as he's like looking around, he sees the real world, but then he's also seeing all these like creatures from the dead world, like ghosts and ghouls and everything, and it's really gruesome because he actually sees like a lot of deaths around him. A lot of the times he's seeing the deaths of a lot of ghosts on loop, like the way they were dying. Like if someone died from a car crash in his math classroom, like he would repeatedly see the car crash and them dying throughout the day, which I think is like really gruesome, and I would hate if I had that ability. And then one of his neighbors is killed and he starts seeing the initials of the murder in like his doorway, and then he's like now being stalked by some vengeful ghost. So basically like the first 74 pages that I've read so far have like set up everything that I've just told you, and like explained a little bit more about like his abilities, and again just like what happens in the synopsis has happened already. So far I think like usually in the beginning of a book I can get a pretty solid sense of what I'm gonna rate it. Even though I know like the ending can change a lot of things, like I usually get a pretty good idea of what I'm gonna rate it. And for this one I'm like, so far I'm like thinking like a 3-star or maybe a little less, I don't know. So far I'm just not super like connected to the story, and I don't know, it's like taking me a little bit to read it. Even though it's such a short book, I feel like I have to like force myself a little bit to read it. Not that I'm hating it, but maybe I'm just not that much into it, even though it is like really short, so I'm like already a third of the way. But it doesn't feel like that because I'm only on page 74. But I think the rest of the story is him just going to be dealing with this like vengeful ghost and trying to figure out like what's happening. I don't know if this is like what categorizes it or falls under the category of like YA horror, but if it is, I definitely think I would prefer adult horror, just because like I think it would improve the intensity of like the situation and what the characters have to go through and are dealing with. But so far, like, I'm enjoying it enough, I guess. So far, it's like just been a lot of setup, so I'm like excited to see what like the actual story and like what the main character is gonna have to deal with. So I will be updating you as I go further into the story. I'm hoping that by like today I can make a big chunk of progress in it, because I really want to finish it like quickly, especially because it's so short. I don't want to take too long to read it. But yeah, I will be letting you know once I get a little bit more into the story, and let you know how I'm feeling about the story as well. So it is the next day, and I am a little sick, if you can hear that. But I haven't made that much progress, honestly, but I read about like 50, just above 50 more pages of this book. And what I forgot to mention in the last update was that this book actually goes in, or has two different points of view. One is like, of course, the main character Jake, who is like dealing with being a medium, and then also dealing with Sawyer, who is like this vengeful ghost that is after him. And then the next point of view is from Sawyer and his childhood, and how he's always like a different sort of child. He was kind of seen as weird, and a lot of adults around him was concerned with his actions and thoughts and everything. So I'm really enjoying that part of the story, actually, to get really more thoughts about more of a backstory to who Sawyer is. And the other thing I've noticed already is that since I'm already 50% of the way through the book, what I've noticed is that this book is in some ways trying to do too much, because we have Jake, who is dealing with a lot of the like the horror aspect, I guess, of this like ghost, and then dealing with the murder of his neighbor, and seeing things like around him, seeing the dead world. And then he's also dealing with being one of the only like now two black kids at his all white like elite prep school. And he's also dealing with the other black kid who just came. They have like some sort of like, not relationship yet, but there's some sparks there, so I'm sure it's gonna develop into like sort of romance, I guess. But I feel like all of these things happening together in such a short book is just like there's too much happening, and I wish the author had focused a little bit more on like one thing, which for me would be like the horror story and everything. The part where he's like dealing with this ghost and all this like stalking that's happening from like the dead world. So I wish like that had been the main focus of the story, but all these new things are being added to the storyline. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So it's midnight now, but a few hours ago I finally finished The Taking of Jake Livingston. It was pretty quick at the end, and it, as I like predicted, it did get like definitely more intense towards the end as the book reached its like climax point. But I think I'm gonna end up giving this on Goodreads, so far I've given it a 2.5-star rating, and I think I'm probably gonna stick with that. That's what feels right to me. Basically, what I was saying before of how this book is trying to do like a lot of things and talk about a lot of different things in such a short amount of time. I just wish that it had been a little bit longer so I could touch on some of the things like a little bit more than it did. I do appreciate that it was definitely bringing up conversations of what it's like to be the only black kid in a school with all white people, and all the microaggressions and racism that comes because of that. And I did appreciate those conversations, definitely, but I feel like with all the other things that are going on, like on the one hand I do get like how even though he's dealing with these fantastical things, he still has to deal with like his real life, where he has to deal with like racism and microaggressions. So I do get like why it was included, but I just wish there was like a little bit more pages to kind of just flesh out the story a little bit more, and flesh out these conversations too, and get a little bit more depth to the story. Other than that, I think the writing was like good enough. Like I didn't really notice too much about like how I hated the writing. It is YA, so it's gonna be a little bit more juvenile if you're more used to reading adult horror and stuff, and I'm not, so like this is my kind of first foray into horror. The one thing is that this book did, like, in the horror aspect, there were quite a few like pretty dark scenes, and that got pretty dark and gruesome. And I think like that's something that I enjoyed because I wasn't expecting it to get as dark as it did in some parts. But I would definitely be interested in picking up a adult horror just to see like what the difference is and how much like the intensity in like the story and the plot increases and intensifies in those, because I'm sure like there's some pretty scary stuff out there. Like I know Stephen King and stuff, like he writes horror and he's known for horror. So like maybe I'll pick up like an adult horror and see like what my thoughts are with that. Other than that, it's like, again, it's like 2.5-star read. It was just like okay, like I could appreciate the conversations it was bringing up. One other thing is that there's like not really a lot of world building, again because the book is so short. Kind of just jumps into the character and his life and like what's going on and like everything that's in the synopsis. It doesn't really set up the world of like, for example, Jake is a medium and like why he's a medium, how he got this power, like if it's something that's given from like from birth or did he like develop it over the years, and if there's other mediums out there or other people like him. I think there was like a therapist or something or some advisor that he talks to about this, so I'm just wondering like are there more people like him? I don't really know. Like this story is very confined to Jake and his experiences, obviously, so there's not really much about like the world around him or like why the stuff that's happening is happening, and just the motivations of the villain could have been fleshed out a little bit more. So like I appreciated the conversation it tried to bring up, like what it was trying to talk about, but again it's just like obviously execution could have been like way better. And basically the point is, if it had been a little bit longer, I think it definitely would have been a better story because of how much it was trying to just talk about in such a short amount of time. But yeah, this is the end of this reading vlog since I have finished this book. The whole point was to read a book with taking in it, and this is the only book on my Goodreads shelf, apparently, on my want to read shelf that had that word in it. So like, even though I didn't rate it that high, I'm glad I still read it. And that's like another book off of my, I guess, want to read shelf, which is good, because I always like want to read the books that I want to have on that shelf. So yeah, if you read this book, let me know down below what your thoughts are, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Of course, I would love to know. But it is like after midnight here and I have work tomorrow, so I should probably be going to sleep soon. But that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed and I'll see you next time. Bye.